gross. NC State basketball, that was gross. We already knew it was bad. At least your games were competitive. They were close. We even talked about that yesterday here on the show. Hey, at least NC State has been there. They just haven't been able to finish. They've lost a lot of 1-point games and so on and so forth. It was 8 straight losses. 10 of 11. Tack one more onto that. 9 straight. 9 straight losses. 11 of 12 you've lost. All in conference.
We might have tried to give them too much credit yesterday.
Maybe. But when you hear this from Kevin Keatts talking about the defense being a letdown, which he acknowledged had been something that had been keeping them in games, but the defense being a letdown, but also something else that stood out that he just openly said right at the start of his presser right after the game yesterday.
Normally I would come in here and I would talk about how our defense has really, kept us in a lot of games. I didn't think we're very good tonight. Like defensively, we didn't do a good job understanding scouting reports. We knew, Louisville is obviously a great shooting team, not a good shooting team, and obviously gave up 11 threes, and they were 11 for 19. We just had too many breakdowns defensively. We have been in every game because our defense has really kept us in games, and tonight was a one-off, and I hope it's a one-off. I just thought our guys, I just didn't think we did a great job on the defensive end.
Okay, yeah, all right, didn't do great on the defensive end.
I don't know if it's been a let-off for the past 9 games or the past 8 games either.
Well, results-wise, that is, but talking specifically his defense, that half of the floor. But the whole thing where he said early on, we got to understand scouting reports. Just go back to their loss against Cal. We've heard this before.
We've got to do a better job of understanding scouting reports.
Bingo, cut it right there.
Wilkinson get to his left hand.
Cut it right there. We are hearing this again at this point in the season. It's a repeated thing. That's a trend. This is who you are. Not like, hey, you know what? We didn't do a good job of following the scouting report today. If it's truly a one-off thing. But when you are hearing again, you're not following a scouting report. As a former coach and former player, I hear 2 things. Two things pop into my mind. 1, as a coach, either your scouting reports, you're not doing a good job of actually coaching them and teaching them to make sure your players understand and coaching it in a way that your players can understand. Or second of all, as a player, if you're not getting it, you're either doing a poor job of communicating to your coach that you're not understanding it, or maybe it's just too complex. There's a few things that could be true with this. But if you as a coach have multiple times, unsolicited, had said, we need to understand scouting reports better, that's an indictment of you as a coach. In my eyes, as someone who used to put together scouting reports. I coached college lacrosse for 9 years. I used to put together scouting reports. Constantly drilling, hey, what are we doing? What are we emphasizing defensively in this situation? Whatever it might be. I had to put those together. I had to make sure my players understood it. Hey, repeat it back to me. Even in huddles during games. Hey, what did the scouting report say on this player? We're forcing them to the left. Okay, gotcha. All right, so we're forcing to the left. Make sure you're re-emphasizing that during the course of the game. Even with your players on the bench that aren't even in the game currently. Hey, remember the scouting report. We're constantly reinforcing those things. Now, execution is something different. But the heat is on. The heat is on full blast for Kevin Keatts. And I think he knows it too. Otherwise, why would he, unsolicited, bring up the successes of last year? Here's him closing out his presser after the game yesterday.
If you think, if as a fan, if you're disappointed, how do you think the guys who work extremely hard every day? We're busting our butt every day, and let's not forget one thing now. We did hang a banner, 2 of them, that hadn't happened in 37 and 40 years. So let's have some respect for that part of it. Understand that we might not be having a great season, But we've done some pretty good things here. So, I think that's enough for people to understand that anything is possible. And what has happened and what we've delivered is pretty doggone good.
Sheesh.
People ain't buying that, man. People ain't buying that now. People ain't buying it. It's one thing if a couple of years ago you were right there. Let's say you finished in the top 4 of the ACC in the regular season. You pushed all the way to the ACC championship game, and you lost in the ACC title game. You go to the NCAA tournament, and you go to the Sweet 16. And it's like, and then the next year, hey, we won the tournament. Hey, we got to a Final Four. You built up good grace over several years. Like, you built up that over several years. That has not been the case. Let's not forget, they had to go on a magical run, a truly magical run to get those banners. This isn't been a team that's consistently been competing in the NCAA tournament, and this is the quote-unquote down year. That's not been the case.
No, instead it's just been 3 NCAA tournament appearances in 7 years.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yes.
You can't just bank on last year's success as your get-me-out-of-jail-free card. And I know that sounds ruthless. I know that sounds harsh to say, but that's just the reality. And that's just the point that this program's at right now.
100%. That being said right there, again, he was asked about the frustration level regarding his team and fans and all that. Hey, again, he's right when he says, hey, the players and the people on the team feel that frustration as much, if not more, than the fans. Because they're the ones actually out there on the floor trying to go out there and win. And it's not going for them. They're the ones actually physically out on the floor trying to do it. Trust me, the frustration's there. When you're not losing, the frustration's there. I've been on teams that have had winning records that have made deep playoff runs, both as a player and coach, and I've been on some very bad teams as both a player and a coach. And trust me, when you're on the losing end of a lot more than you win, it's frustrating as heck. But that, to me, reeks of desperation, especially against a Louisville team that turned it around literally in less than a year. Pat Kelsey at Louisville, first year as a head coach there at Louisville. Came from college to Charleston. Took 2 or 3 transfers up with them from Charleston. Everyone else is from different programs. They got guys from Wisconsin. They've got guys from all different teams. Literally a brand new team built overnight. And right now they're tied for second in the ACC, 12-2. 12-2 in the ACC, tied with Clemson. 1 game back of Duke for first spot in the ACC. By the way, Pat Kelsey, if I had to vote for Coach of the Year, he's my vote.
Oh, yeah, hands down.
Hands down. He should win ACC Coach of the Year for what he has done. But it kind of goes to show you how quickly you can flip this stuff around. I think Keatts feels the heat. I think he feels the heat. And it sounds desperate.